What is up, everybody? I am Joe De Hoyos. I am host of Beyond the Woodline. Real quick before we get started, for those of you who don't know, I am the executive director for the JRG, which stands for the Jevning Research Group. It's headed up and founded by Mr. William Jevning. He's got over 50 years' experience in the Bigfoot world. He was actually friends with Renee DeHenden and John Green. They're two of the four guys who were considered the pioneers of Bigfoot research. He met them when he was like, I don't know, 14, 15 years old after he had his first sighting. And he's been in the field ever since. Really, really great guy. The group is on Facebook under JRG. I'm sure if you type that in, you can find it. JRG or Jevning Research Group, or just find me, period, and I'll turn you on to it. We have teams in Washington State, California, New Mexico, here in Texas where I'm at, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Ohio, Michigan, New York State, Florida, and I'm probably missing a couple of other states. If you're interested in joining the team, shoot me a message. You can find me anywhere on any platform, or you can just email me at beyond.woodline@gmail.com and we will get you started. If you're in a state and there's a team there, but you want to start your own team, you're welcome to do that. If you're in a state, there's no team, you want to start your own team there, you're welcome to do that as well. Or if you just want to find somebody to go out with, we can help you find somebody in your state or near you. We talk to a lot of people, so you don't necessarily have to be on our team for us to, find somebody for you guys to go out with. We do vet you. We vet whoever we set you up with. And we ask that you do the same because, unfortunately, there are some crazy people out there in this world. And we always say, research the researcher. You got to, but we do our best to watch out for everyone. And so far, we've had no issues with anyone. And so just hit me up, beyond.woodline@gmail.com. Or again, like I said, I'm on all the social platforms, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Not hard to find at all. Anyway, I know you guys don't tune in to hear me ramble on all night. Tonight, I have with me Rita and Bethany of, it says AZ Ghost Adventures, but is it Arizona Ghost
No,
Adventures?
it's AZ Ghost Adventures. You got it absolutely right.
AZ Ghost Adventures. Okay, well, cool. Well, why don't you guys get us started and tell us a little bit about yourselves and what got you started in this crazy genre we find ourselves in?
Oh, sure. And I'd like to preface with thank you so much for inviting us to be on your show tonight. I'm Rita Olsen. I am the owner operator of AZ Ghost Adventures, and this is one of my lead investigators, Bethany. Can you see her okay? Say hi, Bethany.
Hi.
And I always like to tell people I have experienced paranormal all my life, as far back as I can remember. And I'm a firm believer in fate, serendipity, being in certain places at certain times. And like I said, I experienced paranormal all my life. As I became older, it became even more profound, knowing what was going on, because as you get older, you realize, hey, what is going on around me and what I'm seeing and what is happening isn't happening to everyone else. And then, as you get a little bit older, you get kind of scared of it too, because you're realizing it isn't happening to everyone else. So I lived with it for many years. And I was so very thankful when TAPS came out. I don't know if I'm dating myself here, with Jason Hawes. And it normalized what was happening, because I was having anything from poltergeist activity to full-bodied apparitions to, EVPs, from myth. Things would turn on and off on their own. Anything that could have premonitory dreams, anything, it was happening. And even guests in my home were seeing people that weren't there. So when TAP started, I was like, oh, whew, I'm not crazy. And I think I watched each episode as many times as I could. And in fact, I had opportunity to meet Jason Hawes about a year ago, and I thanked him for that. I don't think he realizes the type of difference that made in the lives of people that were experiencing a lot of paranormal, because you really do start second guessing yourself. Um, and then, as I got older, I learned to harness it a little bit more. Trying to look into, okay, why is this happening to me? What is my purpose with this happening to me? There's got to be a reason. And then, over the course of several moves, I ended up in Arizona, and I actually went on investigations with AZ Ghost Adventures. I became one of their lead investigators. And then when the opportunity came about in 2021 for me to buy the business, I mean, I jumped right on it, because it was just, again, you get put on a path for a reason sometimes. And I think that was my reason. And I've had it ever since then. And it's been a wonderful opportunity, because I had a vision of where I wanted to take it. We're very historically based. We don't dabble in the dark at all. We have a lot of people come on our investigations that have abilities that they don't understand, kind of like the boat that I was in. And we do what we can to help them, while also investigating these amazing buildings that we investigate, and learning the history, and working with the buildings. A big part of what we do is giving back to the buildings and to the communities that we investigate in, and working with the cities, and just trying to, make paranormal investigating a truly professional experience. So we're not just, you can have people going in and doing whatever they do, and that's not how we operate. We are very professional with our investigations. Not saying that we don't have fun, but we want the people to have. We're not entertainment. We want people to have their own true best experience possible. And through doing that, it's been a wonderful model, because we have people that come back time after time after time. Heck, we'll have some investigations where all the guests know everybody. It's like a big family gathering. And that's great. I mean, that's what we were striving for. And I really feel that's what we've achieved. So that's my Cliff's Note version of where I am today with you.
Cool, man. Yeah, that's very great. I love that story too. I think a lot of people are in that same boat, even if they're not investigating, or, they're not out doing any kind of research. I think looking for those answers is very important, and it's good that people like yourself are out there doing that.
Yeah. And I feel that it also bleeds out into other parts of our lives. Like, I work in healthcare. I work in occupational therapy. I'm in a skilled nursing setting. And my background, I have a lot of background in mental behavioral health. So I've worked with people from 3 days old to 105 years old. I've worked with people that are, fully cognitive, to people having, ideations, or some people that have done, I've worked in state mental hospitals where they, you're with the worst of the worst. So I think that helps round me also in what I do, because when I investigate, I try to come to it from, just like how I treat my patients, with empathy. It's not my place to judge them. It's my place to try to help them. And I approach that with my investigations the same way. When we go into places, we tell everyone up front, we have some paraphilosophy rules that we have to follow. And one of them is, or two, you respect the buildings and you respect the spirits. And I don't care what the spirits did. I can't change what they did. And, and I'm talking about like locations like the jail. We investigate the 1910 Gila County Jail quite a bit. I can't change what they did. I'm just there to learn their story. And, and get it out and maybe find out why they did what they did. And I think that if following that methodology of investigating, you tend to get a better response. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does, and I do have a follow-up question for that.
Okay.
But right now, I do want to ask Bethany her story. What got her involved in all
Yeah,
this?
Bethany, what got you started, Bethany?
Oh, and real quick, you guys see me looking down? I've got notes on my phone, so that's all.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, I don't want you to think I'm like,
There it is.
yeah. I just don't want you to think I'm here texting away
Nope,
while you guys
that's
are talking.
okay. That's
Okay.
okay.
I usually tell
I
that.
can see what you're doing.
Yeah. I usually tell that before we go on air. Hey, you guys, I'm gonna be on my phone. I got questions here, so don't think anything like. So if you see me looking down, don't take that as disrespect, please. Yeah, go ahead, Bethany.
So I'm the opposite. I've never had experiences growing up. I didn't see anything. I didn't really have my first experience until I was an adult and after my dad passed. And I saw him come through. Like he came to me, but it was that was after like Ghost Hunters came out and stuff. And I saw that I was like, oh, that's very interesting. Learning about what's out there after people pass. And learning about, the just be able to communicate with people that are not there. But yeah, I didn't really have anything happen growing up.
Was that scary when your dad?
Yeah, it was odd, and I was like, "What is that?" Because it was the first time I heard his voice, and he was not there, of course. But yeah.
So if you don't mind, I mean, would you mind sharing that experience in detail? What was going on? What happened?
So I had when I was away from living on my own. I had a puppy, and my dad hated dogs. He would not let me come. Like we had like a little, I would say like 3 foot by 3 foot little linoleum section right in the front door before you get to the carpet. And he would always tell me you cannot go past that linoleum when you have Maggie. So, but years would pass, and by the time he was getting close to passing, because he was always sick, she had her own little spot on his chair, and then after he passed, I would hear him calling for her, and then her ears would perk up even though there was nobody there, and I didn't she would sense him there at the house. And I heard his voice calling for him because he would always say Maggie, just like that. And I heard a voice say Maggie, and I was the only one in the house.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that, and I like that a lot because my dad passed away in 2012, and I kind of mentioned before we came on the air that I had moved out to San Antonio, and during that time I was going through a lot of mental issues. I was having a rough time, but he was with me that whole time for those 2 years. Kind of, I feel watching out for me and looking out for me and just letting me know that he was there. I'll tell you a story real quick. I don't mean to make this about me, but my youngest was downstairs. He was washing clothes, and I had some jeans or something. I said, "Hey, wash these for me." And so I threw them downstairs to him, and there's a light switch right next to me that turns on the light in the hallway, and it flicked on. I heard it flick. I looked, I saw it was up, and the lights came on. And I just knew it was my dad. And like I said, I just always knew he was around. I could always feel him. I don't know how else to really explain it. I moved back here to Houston. I was at my mom's house, and I'm telling my mom this story. I'm standing in the kitchen, and there was like a bar that separates the kitchen from the dining room, right, the living room. And she's leaning on the bar and she's listening to my story. And as I'm telling her this, and I said, man, the light switch flicked on and the lights came on, and I knew that was dad. And she's just looking at me, right? She's listening to the story. And at that exact moment, the light switch in the kitchen flicks on and it comes on the light. That was it was cool and kind of creepy at the same time, but yeah, that's why I like that story about your dad.
And I always like to tell people when they have something like that happen, because people will say it kind of weirded me out or I was afraid. And I tell them, but think about it this way, how lucky you are that he was able to come back to you.
Right. Yeah.
Because there's so many people that we encounter them in our investigations that come out and they're hoping that a family member or someone will come through, and it doesn't happen
Right.
all
Yeah.
the time. I can't just snap my fingers and make it happen. But the times that it does, I am quick to say, wow, you are so lucky
Mhm.
that you got to have that experience, and that they were able to come through to you. Because to me, it's really like the energies have to be, like the planets aligning,
Right. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
energies have to align, right? And so, yeah, so I'm so happy for you that you
Yeah.
got
And
to experience that.
I got in a better space. I got in a better place, mentally and emotionally, um, and I think he's kind of popped in and out here and there, just maybe 2 or 3 times. But I still wish he was like all the time.
Mhm.
I wish I could constantly like, hey, show up, let me
But
know
he
you.
might be there. He's just, it takes energy for them to show themselves. So,
Yeah, and I think, like I said, I think there was a reason why he was letting me know that he was around.
yeah.
Yeah, and the same was during my first marriage. The house that we lived in was extremely active. You know, me and my ex-wife and my 3 kids, we all saw things. We were all touched or poked or prodded at one time or another.
Mhm.
You know, and we figured it was the original owners of that house who were the only owners of that house. They died in their late 90s. I think he was like 96. She was like 95 when they passed. And the house was empty for like 5 years, and that house was just active. And and for the most part, I think we're like 99% sure it was the Colemans. And we let them know, hey, this is your house.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's your
Yeah.
house. We're just here. Just don't scare us. But like I said, I don't want to say scared us, but it definitely freaked us out a little bit.
It does. And even like the house that I'm in now, in Arizona, this one. So I go between a, a pretty tucked away area in right on the edge of the Tano National Forest to Globe, Arizona. I go back and forth, and there's about 115 miles between, the two houses. And they're both active. But every house that I've had is active. But this one is on old Hohokam ground, old Native
Okay.
American ground. Not too far from where we're at is what's called the Sears Cay ruins. And when I first moved here, because you get used to it, and I'm very used to it. And even at night, if things happen, because my husband used to travel up until COVID, and I would have to, this house is in the middle of nowhere, and it's a big house. And I would hear like the door handles clicking and stuff, and I would have to say, okay, I need to go to sleep. I have to go to work in the morning. Knock it off.
Yeah.
And my room was my sanctuary. But yeah, when I first bought this house, I was like, oh, there's something here that's not familiar to me. And so I brought someone in, and in fact, more than one person has told me this, that it's a Native American tribal member that lived on this property. And it's a high piece of property, so I could see why. It's on like kind of like on the highest point in the area, and that this is he just keeps an eye on everything. And I talk to him all the time. I'm like, thank you. I'm just a visitor here. This is your home. You're going to be here a lot longer than me. And I promise to take care of it and be respectful of the land. We have a lot of quartz on this land, smoky quartz, and I won't even take any of it off.
Oh, nice.
Because,
Okay.
yeah, I won't remove anything from the
Yeah.
property. It's like, nope, not mine. I'm going to keep it all nice and calm. But yeah, so I get it. And even the other house, it was built in 1950. And from the moment that the realtor never told me that it had reports of being haunted. But the moment I walked in the door, I said, okay, this will do. we'll take this one. And my husband's like, I can't believe you're ready to make an offer on a house and you haven't even opened a cabinet. I said, no, this is good. This is good. And we've had a lot of, because Bethany will come out and stay there. We've had a lot of experiences there, a lot. And it happens to be just a few blocks right up the street from the facility where I work, the skilled nursing facility, which was the site of the old hospital, the city's first hospital out there. And I've had a few things follow me home, but there's it's like, okay, well, you can visit, but then you got to go back.
Yeah. So, but a follow-up question that I wanted to get to, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So you say like your purpose is to tell their story because it's just as important as anyone else's story, right?
Yeah.
So like, what do you mean by that exactly?
Well, I think like any of us, my fear is not passing. My fear is not dying. I have a bigger fear of being forgotten or never being known by family that will come along. And I think that there's so many people that when they pass, they're kind of just, people are so transient now. They go. It's not like generations living in the same city where generations lived. And so families go and they feel forgotten about. And I think when we come in and say, hey, I know you're here, and your space here is, and your energy here is just as important as my energy here is. And fortunately, we have some amazing buildings that we investigate, like the Globe Jail, the Elks building, which also housed a funeral home, the Freemasons building. We have an old tubercular sanatorium. So we have some buildings that have a lot of history. Unfortunately, they've had a lot of tragedy also. And I think over the course of time, a lot of stories get changed. And it's not what it really should have been. We have one, it's at the 1910 Gila County Jail, and it's a story about one of their most notorious prisoners, Kingsley Olds. And he was arrested for I don't know what words I can use on Facebook without getting you in trouble. I know on TikTok we have to say unaliving.
Yeah, well, that's probably a good.
Yeah,
a good
I want to,
word.
I want, and it's not my place to change history, but what we have gotten over years of investigating, it's not like this just happens overnight. This is over years of going there investigating. We found that the more pieces to the story, and that he actually didn't do it from what we've gathered in our investigation.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. Or, but it could be not something that that's would be a happier ending. We also have, at the same location, an arsonist who has started coming through. And I love our SD session. We actually have someone who comes on quite a few of our investigations, and it's almost like she's channeling when she does her SD sessions. That has just become, she's always had abilities, but that has really become her strong modality to use. A lot has come through on this person, and we even have a picture of him. So if you go back and visit our Facebook site, and you look up the jail, or Mike is his name, he comes through. And over the years of working with, like I said, my background's in mental behavioral health, just kind of harnessing what this person is trying to get across to us, in a manner where they don't control the situation. You're controlling the investigation, but you're still getting the information, because it could be a good person saying, hey, this is my story, I want to get it out there. And it could be someone that was really awful saying, hey, this is my story, I want to get it out there because I'm an awful person and, a narcissist or whatever. And I want people to know all about me. So, there's many reasons that the story wants, there's many reasons that they want their stories out there, I should say.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting that you mentioned, your occupation, has working in healthcare changed the way you look at the paranormal?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I have had, I've actually had a patient that I saw after they passed. I mean, it was probably as they were passing in another room, but I thought
Right.
they were alive in their room. Um, and that is one of those good things. She came to me.
Right.
And that's where I began to feel, how lucky am I that this person came to me, because it was someone that I had treated for years.
Yeah.
I've had patients just before their passing where they, you hear the stories about how they start talking about people coming to visit them and things like that. It's true. It is
Right.
very
No,
true.
yeah, I think so.
And I don't want, when I'm at work, I don't tell my patients what I do outside of work, because I don't want them thinking like I'm the angel of death or something like that. Right. I don't want to scare any of them. And but I've had quite a few experiences. The staff all know what I do, and I'll go to them over the years. They've learned. I'll go to them wherever I happen to be at and say, "Hey, you may want to call their family because this happened," and they'll call their families. And sure enough, the patient will usually pass within 24 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then most of the time it's wonderful thing what they have to say. They'll talk about like the people around me, or be smiling, or who's coming to visit them. And all the years that and all the experiences that I've had, I've only had one time where someone was utterly terrified, and it was a black something in their room, a black mass, and it just terrified them. And I don't know what to make of that. I'm not a big believer in demons. I have never experienced one. I don't think there's any in any of the buildings that we go to. I'm always quick to tell our guests that, but I don't know what it was that scared this man. I mean, it could be his own inner whatever happened,
Right. Yeah.
or someone that he wronged when
So,
in his past.
so I want to give Bethany a chance to talk, but I still got to ask you another question though. What about angels? Have people ever said anything about seeing angels?
I fully believe in angels.
Okay.
Fully believe in angels.
Okay.
I've had things happen. When I was 7, I had a near-death experience. I had a very traumatic accident where I should have passed, just because of the severity of it, the fall. It was 2 stories onto concrete. And yeah, and so little kids do bounce, but
Right. Yeah.
it shouldn't. Yeah, that's just, I'm just amazed that I made it through that. And I've had a couple of other experiences where it's like something is watching over you, or kind of stepping in to help you, and especially to get through a bad time, or something bad that could happen.
And we've had angels come through on investigations with Sean.
Oh
That
yeah,
one time we had that angel come through that was like protecting him.
yeah. So I believe in the I believe in the forces of good and the forces of bad. I just think that anyone who says anything bad is demonic, that's where I think that's
Right.
just been so overblown.
Yeah.
So I tend to be like, no, you can have a person that did bad things,
Right.
but that doesn't make them demonic.
Right.
I mean,
And I was going to say too that I think that sometimes even the spirit is so desperate for communication that they don't even know their own strength, or they don't know how to control it, and it comes off as aggressive.
absolutely.
You know.
In fact, during our investigations, we tell people, because, whatever we're using, like the SB7 or whatever, and I say, you may hear demon, some other D words come through, or growl. And I tell them, I say, sometimes I think it's also the spirits trying to control their environment, and all they've got is their voice. So if they're irritated at you, or they're irritated about something, or they're just trying to control it. We all try to control our environment. It's human. And so they may do that to to just kind of keep the people in line that are there. So I'll come back with, there's no need to growl at us, and and if you want us to step out and investigate another part of the building, that's fine. So I'd rather that we maintain the control during our investigation, but that doesn't mean that you can't compromise and, again, be respectful to whatever spirit it is that you're communicating with.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I did want to ask Bethany something,
Go for it, Bethany.
Yeah. Evidence. What's some of the best evidence you've either captured or best evidence you've ever seen?
Okay. So the best thing that I caught myself without any pictures or anything, was my first time. So I've seen shadow figures, I've seen mists and stuff, but I've never seen a full body apparition with like full features where you can see every detail. And I saw my first one not too long ago, and I came running down the stairs. I was like, my heart was racing. I'd never seen one before. So that was really good. And then my favorite evidence I caught on camera, we were at Woodline Plaza in Miami, Arizona, and it's an old segregated school for the Native American and Hispanic children. And now it's a cultural center. So each of the the classrooms are set up with different themes. And we were in the military room, and they have a lot of old like medical stuff in the section we were in. And there's an old crib, and we had equipment set up on the floor, and things kept going off. And Rita kept feeling like someone playing with her hair.
Yeah, like it would literally take a strand and pull it out.
Oh,
And
wow.
something keeps playing with my hair, and I didn't know at the time. Someone had an SLS camera on me, and it was showing something on my
head. You could see
head.
a figure standing right next to her, literally playing with her hair. And then, so I snapped a picture with my phone, and under the crib, you could see two little kids, a girl and a boy, kneeling down, like features, like you could see the girl had blonde hair to her shoulder. You can see like they were wearing 90s.
Boy had on like a Lone Ranger mask.
Yeah, the boy was wearing a Lone Ranger mask, and it was clear as day, as if another person was sitting there.
Yeah, and it was odd because I kept saying something was pulling my hair, so I stood up.
Yeah.
And I normally don't stand. I like to sit on the ground during investigations. I feel it just kind of like gets me in tune with what's going on. And I stood up, and she snapped the picture. And the funny thing is, where these two children were now at the foot, because I was kind of center sitting in front of the crib on the floor, but they had come to the foot of the crib and were like peeking out. I mean, you can see them under this crib. It was crazy.
It looked like they were like on their knees.
Yeah. So that's on our, if you look up under Woodline Plaza, that is on our Facebook page. We put out all of our evidence for free. I don't believe in charging to see our evidence. So yeah, it's on that. That was an amazing catch. I mean, and she was freaked out.
Because everything that was happening, we had the little, her feeling like someone's playing with her hair, the figure on the SLS, the equipment going off. We had like cat balls. We had all these sensors going off. And then when I took that picture, just everything kind of correlating with each other. Yeah. And then getting that on the picture, I was amazed.
Yeah, and that really validates. Yeah. I mean, we try to look for, we love if there's something on the SLS. We love if, a sensor ball goes off, especially on command, or a REM pod or a tripwire or something like that. But when you have those different things happening, like I say, something's pulling my hair, I didn't know that an SLS camera was trained on me because it's dark in the room. And they were seeing that. They didn't say anything. And then I stand up, the equipment starts going off. She takes a picture and sees the two little kids under the crib. That is to me, that is it. I mean, you've got multiple things happening. Yeah. I mean, we have pictures of, full-bodied apparitions and myths and everything. But that was amazing because of so many things that were happening at one time to correlate.
Were y'all able to do any kind of research on who these kids may have been?
I mean, we didn't really do any research, but because it was a school, it was an elementary school.
Yeah.
So we're thinking maybe just could have been some students. But that
And
wouldn't explain why they were in their 90s, though.
yeah, and the school was built in 1923. So you had from that time forward, you had tuberculosis, you had polio, a lot of different outbreaks. And it wasn't a segregated school all the time. At one point, they opened it up to, you know, to everyone, all the children. They didn't have them going to different schools based on, you know, cultural background. And so, yeah, it's been through that. Has
And
been
then
through, and it's got a
also-
lot of artifacts in it. too
Yeah,
now.
and also prior to it being a school, it was branches.
Yeah.
So it's possible
Okay.
that maybe it could have been somebody living there before there was a school.
Yeah. Yeah, but that building is full of artifacts,
Mm-hmm.
and we have things coming through that are attached to the artifacts also. So it's just got so much going on. In fact, that building, we're the team that brought Ghost Adventures in to investigate there. And whether or not you like Ghost Adventures, I'm not saying I agree with their investigating methodology, but it was so nice when we pulled up that Billy comes running out the back door saying, "Oh my gosh, this place really is haunted." And then during our filming, they kept having to stop because they thought people were talking that were mic'd up, but we weren't. They were picking up EVPs. And they caught some poltergeist activity there. And Zach even came up and he said, "I want to thank you because this is the second most haunted building we've been to besides the Goldfield Hotel." And they actually didn't have to, if you watch that episode, I was so pleased because it wasn't the over dramatization of things. It was like an old school paranormal investigation. And that made me so happy that they were able, that
No
they were
jump
able to do that.
scares.
Yeah, no jump scares. So it's an amazing building. That's like my home away from home building.
And what's the name of that building again?
It's the old Bullion Plaza,
Okay.
and it's in Miami,
Yeah,
Arizona.
and it's my favorite
Okay.
location.
Yeah, I was going to ask you guys that if you guys had a favorite location.
That's my favorite location of places that we normally investigate, but the ones that we've done outside of our normal investigating, I think the Sally.
The who? Oh, the
The
Sally
Sally
House?
House in Kansas.
Yeah,
That's
that
probably
was
my favorite non-Arizona location.
Yeah, we have to go back there. We
Mhm.
didn't get to. Have you been to the Sally House?
No, but it's definitely on my bucket list for sure.
I would highly recommend going. When you go, call us back and we'll do another interview on the Sally House because I have my own theory on who Sally really is.
Okay. So
Yeah.
why is that your favorite place then?
It's just
It was
it
intense.
was very intense, very different. Just the energy that was there was very high energy there. I normally don't get not just like sick or have these intense what do you call it, experiences, but I got sick 3 different times in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just the story that we were learning about Sally and just the history of it and
There was
stuff.
a lot. There was a lot. I saw a full body apparition,
Yeah.
a little boy in there
Wow.
Yeah.
in the kitchen.
Yeah.
It
As
was,
intense as it was, it's probably my favorite.
yeah. And I have some really strong theories. That could be a whole episode in and of itself. I have some really, just from what we've done with the investigating
Yeah.
and the SD sessions, we did multiple
Mhm.
SD sessions there.
And it was just us two in the whole house.
Yeah. It's an amazing location. It really is.
Yeah, I already know I want to have you guys back on because we only got 20 minutes left in the show.
Ah.
But yeah, for sure. Maybe even some more team members on also. But
So I wanted to ask you, I know you were talking about Bigfoot. Have you had any cryptid experiences?
you know, I've never had a full sighting. I've seen like flashes of fur. I've seen movement, you know, not just in the daylight, but also in the nighttime. I've seen the red eye shine. I've had rocks thrown at me. I had a stick thrown at me.
Mhm.
Heard footsteps, heard growls, I've got some crazy wood knocks that I recorded. So yeah, I've had quite a bit of experience with the. I'm just guessing it was Bigfoot. I don't know what else could do that kind of stuff. We found a lot of evidence. We have found tons of footprints. We Everything from like the smallest print I ever found was a 3-inch print in the middle of a creek in the San Houston forest during snake season, and it was a footprint. It wasn't something that kind of looked like a footprint. It was a
Uh-huh.
little bitty
Oh, wow.
footprint with all the little toes, but
Uh-huh.
it was more rectangular, like a Fred Flintstone kind of a looking foot.
Yeah.
It wasn't the typical little kid's foot, but it was like 3 inches and it was very thick and very wide, in the middle of a creek, just like I said.
Wow.
And
Oh, go on. I'm sorry.
no, I was gonna say, and we found a hog with his head ripped off.
Oh, wow.
Not shot, not stabbed, no arrow wounds. The head wasn't cut off with a knife. It was ripped off. It was
Wow.
ripped. And in that same area, that's where my friend Walter's, that's how I got to investigate that area. He saw a 9.5 foot tall one there. And we measured where he said the head was at, and it was 9.5 feet tall.
Have you had any UFO experiences?
I've had two. One while I was fishing in Galveston.
Uh-huh.
With my ex-father-in-law. We were fishing, and we were on the jetties. And he's like, "Hey, Joe, look, what's that?" And I look up where he points to my left, and there's a round disc, super smooth, no kind of wobble. It had no lights, no noise. It was only like 200 feet above our heads. And I tell everybody, I tell everyone, I think a professional baseball player could have hit it with a baseball, you know.
Mhm.
And it moved so slow
Uh-huh.
that anything else other than a helicopter couldn't move that slow without staying in the air, because planes need to have a certain kind of speed to stay in the air.
That's right. Yeah.
And this thing was so slow, no engines, no propellers, no wings, like I said, no lights, nothing. And we saw this thing perfectly. I even drew a picture of it. I've got a picture somewhere. And then the other time I was with my friend Walter. We had done our Bigfoot investigation, and he doesn't live very far from the San Houston forest, like literally like 15-minute drive. And we get back to his house, and his neighborhood is still surrounded by forest. And we were out in the front yard getting ready to say our goodbyes, and we happened to look up. Well, I looked up and I said, "Hey, dude, look at that." And there was these two lights going at each other like this, and they got close and they spun like in perfect little circles.
Oh, wow.
And then they took off the other way like that again.
And I ask because I love to ask questions during our investigations, the people who come and things that happen. And I'm finding that a lot of people who have paranormal experiences also have had experiences with UFO, also have had experiences with cryptids, also have had experiences with near death or death experiences. So, it's ironic that you say that because I've had two UFO experiences, one out here at the house I'm currently in, and at night there's nothing. I mean, and especially in the wintertime, it's like you could touch the stars.
Yeah.
No ambient light or anything. And I was home at about 10 o'clock at night, all by my lonesome, sitting, and my picture window overlooks the mountains, and it was just pitch black. And all of a sudden I see this light, and I'm thinking, is that a drone? Who the heck has a drone out this late at night? And it comes down just like you. Yeah, it could have been hit with a baseball. And it was about the size of an SUV. And it was about 100, 200 feet off the ground, let's say. And it was just there, no noise. And the light was coming from the inside out, like one of our cat balls. You know how that light goes from the inside out. And I just looked at it, and it's like, that's not a drone. And I stood up, and it was freezing cold out because the desert gets very cold in the wintertime at night. And I just turned for a moment to put my slippers on to go outside onto the back deck, and it was gone. And I went out, and we have a rooftop deck, and I can see for miles, and it was nowhere. It was gone. I mean, I can see all the way to Phoenix. I can see, cities away because we're up on a hill, and there was nothing. And and it made no sound or anything. And I thought that was pretty amazing. And in the same area that I'm in, like I said, I'm right on the Tano National Forest. I had done a podcast with Bethany, and I was driving home. It was like 12:30, and to get out to my house, you have to drive on on dirt roads. And I go about 20 miles an hour because it's 2.5 miles. I'll go slow. At night, you have the javelinas, you have the bunnies that like to run out, things like that. I don't want to, we have deer. I don't want to hit anything. And so I was going really slow. I had only had water to drink all night long. And so it wasn't like I was, impaired in any way. And I'm driving, and to my left is a mountain called Granite Mountain. And to the right is the Tano National Forest. And I'm driving on this road with my brights on, 20 miles an hour. And all of a sudden, not 15 feet in front of me, this big thing crosses the road. And it was bigger than a greyhound dog. It was like the size of a Shetland pony, maybe, but not the size. I mean, just height wise. But it was skinny. It was super skinny. And it was like a lightish gray color, and it was like 2 legs, and then but they were weird looking, and then it was just bent over, like if you took a candy cane and turned it on its side. So if it had arms, I wouldn't have been able to see it, and it scared the hell out of me. It truly did scare the hell out of me.
We looked it up, and it's a night crawler.
A night crawler, yeah, and I was so afraid because I'm driving and I'm out in the middle of nowhere, no cell service. And that's how far out we are. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if I go forward, are there any more of these ahead of me? And if I stay here, are there more coming off the mountain towards me? And I was like, what the hell? So it's just like, I just got to get home. I got to get home. Yeah. And that was a few years ago. And to this day at night, because I have like a chicken coop and everything. I mean, everyone's on property out here. I won't go out at night. Yeah. I will not go out at night.
Yeah, when I go out to my car, I'm like,
yeah. And
I got my guard up. I'm like,
I called her the next morning. I was like, you would not believe what happened to me. And I drew a picture of it. And and she looked it up and she's like, yeah, that's a night crawler. And it was in front of me it's not like it was like really quick. It was in front of me for several seconds going across the road. And I was just like, what in the hell? And you're kind of like confused at first, like, what is that? Yeah. And but I know exactly what I saw.
Have you done any research on like any other sightings in that area?
There are, in this area, there are a lot of UFO sightings on over the Tano National Forest.
Okay, that's very interesting. Yeah. And I mean, I've talked to people who have seen that same thing in different parts of the country. So yeah, that's very interesting that you've seen it there too.
Yeah, and it's just and having and seeing that. My first UFO sighting was actually in Chicago. I grew up in Chicago, and I remember it clearly. I lived like right off the lake, far southeast, like on the Chicago, Indiana, I should say Illinois, Indiana border. And back then you could be a kid and be out at 10:30 at night. And I was walking home, and I remember seeing, and it was kind of like what they call the Phoenix lights, where it's the V shape of lights, and they were coming towards me over the sky, and I just watched them, and I must have been like 12 at the time. And I was like, what is that? And, it didn't scare me, but it certainly made an impact on me. So again, in talking to people who experience, I ask these questions, and it's just like, what's that? Is there like a connection there with people who have experienced these things? And also, there's just so many. And it's funny because people on our investigations, I'll start bringing things up and they're like, I had that happen. I had that happen. I had that happen. And so I just find it really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I think it's really interesting. And, It's kind of a side note. My wife was actually in Phoenix when the Phoenix lights happened. She didn't see them, but she
Oh,
was in
wow.
Phoenix. Yeah, she was in Phoenix when that happened. It's pretty funny.
And I've seen mountain lions out here. This was not a mountain. I mean, we have them. This was not a mountain lion. This was something not that I've never ever seen before. And I don't ever want to see it again because it was, well, I shouldn't say I don't ever want to see it again, but I just I don't want to know that it's around my house.
Right. Yeah. Do you think it noticed you, or could you tell if it looked at your way?
I couldn't know that it was
Okay.
just the body part was just this like a tube almost. The
Okay.
best way I could describe
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it, but not big, like this big around. So if you take that
Wow.
sideways, like imagine like a gray piece of PVC pipe, and then these legs came down. It was just odd. It was odd. And even the way that the legs were shaped doesn't, like, with a horse or any animal, they've got that bend in their knee.
Mhm.
This was kind of more like a U shape
Hmm.
to the shape of their legs. So you'd have a U shape and then the foot, and that's how it kind of moved its legs forward like that. It was, I mean, enough to stop. And I mean, I stopped and I was like, what is this? And that I could make out all those features on it.
How far away do you figure you were?
I was about 15 feet from it.
Oh, geez.
It was right in front
So
of
if you were
me.
going 30 miles an hour, you probably would have hit that sucker, huh?
Yeah, and I was only going 20. Like I said,
That's what I was
really
saying.
slow, because sometimes you'll get the herds of deer coming. This was not a deer. I am very familiar with deer. This
Yeah.
was not a javelina. It was not a mountain lion. It was not a bobcat. Those are all the things you have out here. It was nothing of this planet.
Hmm.
It was crazy. And I called her the next morning. It's like, it terrified me just because I didn't know, like, are there more?
Yeah.
And it's like, it was heading from the mountain into the desert. That's the direction it was going.
Okay. That's really interesting. I wonder what was in that desert that was so important.
Well, there's a lot. I mean, this desert, again, old Native American ground, a lot of old mines out here. They did gold mining out here. There's a lot. My land, when we had some work done on our yard, the guy said we are on a quartz and limestone vein. So there's just a lot of energy,
Mhm.
a lot of energy out
Have you
here.
ever have you ever asked any Native Americans about that? About what you saw?
We actually collaborate with a team called Paranormal Scouts, and they are White River Apache,
Okay.
and we investigate with them quite a bit just because the Apache influence is so prevalent
Mhm.
in the locations that we investigate in, and they're a great team to investigate with too. But I'm trying to remember
I
if
don't
we
know
told
if you
Leland about it.
talked about that
I'll
yet.
have to ask him again. I mean, because I keep a picture in one of my cases of what I drew, what it was. Because the next morning I drew it. I was like, "This is
Yeah,
what."
if you don't mind, send that to me. I got a friend of mine. He has his own podcast. It's Don't Whisper at Night. No, Don't Whistle at Night.
Uh-huh.
He's
That's interesting.
his
I
name is
still got
Don.
one.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
his name is Don. He's Navajo, and he talks about all this stuff.
Here,
All
in
of it.
fact, let's see. Do I have real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a Sharpie. Hold on.
He's actually gotten some backlash for talking about all this stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So this is like my. Can you see? So like
Right.
these are the legs, and this was the body. Like it was bent over, moving forward.
Okay.
So you can imagine if it stood up, it would have been like this. If it stood up, it would have been like that. Can you see that?
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That picture actually looks familiar. I forgot what they actually call that thing.
That's good. I think Bethany's looking up right now, night crawlers.
Yeah.
And it was just, it wasn't fat. And from what it could have been when it was up wider, but from the way I see it, yeah. So Bethany's got like where someone drew a picture of a night crawler, if you could see that.
Yeah, I've seen that picture before too.
Yeah, but it scared the hell out of me.
Yeah.
And as someone who I can roam dark buildings all by myself at 4 or 3 in the morning, but this I was just like, what? Because is it going to hurt me? Are we being invaded? I mean, what the heck? What the actual heck? And it was very scary. But again, did I see it because of, is it tied to the other things that happened in my life?
They have been spotted in Tucson.
They've been spotted in Tucson also.
Wow. Okay.
Which is several hours from us.
The Sabino Canyon Nightcrawler.
The Sabino Canyon Nightcrawler. Okay. Yeah. So when I saw that you did Bigfoot, I was like, oh, I got to tell him my cryptid story because that was intense.
Yeah.
It was one of the, and again, I won't go out at night now. No, because if I do have a propensity for something like that, and I think I maybe had an encounter. It's a long story. We don't have time for it, but it's like if a person has a propensity for that, and that's why they have all these other things happen. And if I'm outside by myself, I don't even like going on my back deck, like up on the rooftop deck anymore at night.
Right.
Because
Really?
it's like, what am I going to have happen?
Yeah.
It's like, will they come back? Do they
Yeah.
come? Do they show themselves to certain people?
I think they do.
I meant to see it.
I think they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
And so yeah, that was crazy.
mhm.
But again, on our investigations, I ask people and they say, yeah, we've had things like that happen too. And because we want them to share their stories. And it's just amazing the amount of people that have multiple things happen.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we're coming up at the end of the show. Man, I wish I could have talked to you for another hour.
I know, boy, we've got so many great investigation things that have happened.
Investigations, experiences, and stories. I really love that. And like I said, if you guys don't mind, I'd love to reschedule you guys.
Oh yeah, no, that's no problem at all.
But yeah, I want you to give a chance. I want to give you a chance to tell people where to find you and perhaps tell them a little bit more about AZ Ghost Adventures.
Oh, sure. You can find us on Facebook, AZ Ghost Adventures. That is so hard. But we have multiple sites on Facebook. We also have AZ Ghost Adventures Evidence and Discussion. That is a site where people can post their things, like their pictures and, questions and experiences. And we want, and we do ask that everyone be professional with, their responses to these things, because it is personal when someone has a paranormal experience. So you can find us at AZ Ghost Adventures, AZ Ghost Adventures Evidence and Discussion. And we also have a third Facebook site called Arizona Hauntings and the Supernatural. And then we are on TikTok at AZ Ghost Adventures. Again, super hard. And we are also on Instagram at AZ Ghost Adventures. We tried to keep it all as.
And we're also on YouTube.
Oh yeah, we're on YouTube. So we just started a live cast. We're running it on TikTok right now. I'm toying with the idea of also doing live cast at the same time on Facebook. And it is called Paranormal Disunity, and the good, the bad, and the unbelievable. And it is a roundtable discussion, very similar to what we're doing today. And setting it up on the TikTok setting is so we can have guests or, watcher viewer interaction, and they get to ask the questions. They get to have input on what we discuss. And we try to keep it upbeat, but we may discuss some things that might get people a little butthurt, but that's okay. As long as it's civil, professional discussion, because there's a lot going on in the paranormal world right now, and a lot of people have a lot of differing opinions. So that also will be downloaded onto our YouTube channel, Paranormal Disunity, DIS, capital UNITY. And and so we've got that going on. We host group and private investigations. We are very historically based. I believe that knowing the history of a location helps with the context of what comes through. So everyone who comes on our investigations, we start out in a group. We give, the history of the building, teach people how to use the equipment. We provide the equipment. And then if a name comes through like Charlie, it has meaning. I mean, if you don't know that this was Charlie's room and he was a patient here, and the name Charlie comes through, oh, great, you got the name Charlie, but nothing else, right?
Right.
So we want people to learn about it, and I found that too, and we've gotten a lot of great feedback on it because it helps them become more invested in the investigation.
Helps them learn how to investigate.
And how to investigate. Yeah, and we tell our guest investigators, you're the investigator on this. I'm here all the time. So we get them to interact as much as possible to feel more comfortable with it. And we have some people that are very drawn to certain locations, so they'll go there multiple times. And we do have a paraphilosophy that we follow, and some of the big things are be respectful to the locations, be respectful to the spirits. Everyone experiences the paranormal differently, so it's not our job to judge how someone experiences it, what tool they choose to use, what modality. Like I use dowsing rods. A lot of people don't like dowsing rods. Guess what? I don't care. They work for me. That's what I use.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
my modality. Yeah. So we do that. And then we also believe in, some of our other paraphilosophy items are you give back to the cities that you investigate at. So we try to give back as much as possible to the cities and the locations that we investigate at. We do a lot of pro bono work for places like the Cave Creek Museum or the City of Globe. They'll have the local mines will have people. We posted pro bono investigations for people from all over the world because it helps the city, it gives back to the city. So we really, that is, to me, that is a big thing. I'm a firm believer in karma. And, if that's going to make our lives better by making other people's lives better, then that's what we're going to do. We're also hosting the 2026 Globe Paracon on September 26th. We just hit our vendor cutoff today, so our vendor spots are all full, but we will be having 3 paranormal investigations, one at the Globe Jail, one at Bullion Plaza, and one at the 3-story Elks building, Jones Mortuary. And those are small group investigations. So there's spots available for that. And we'll also have speakers and workshops. So the speakers are free, the vendors are free. The paranormal investigations and the workshops, there is a charge for those, but you can go on to the globeparacon.com. Again, try to make it as easy as possible website to learn about it. And our workshops are pretty cool. I mean, one is making personalized dowsing rods. One is protection jars. One is crystals and herbs for metaphysical healing. So those are, you'll leave with something.
Yeah.
And we'll also have raffle items. We'll have food vendors. Globe is a walking city. So like our Paracon is there, and then there's the main street. So you can, it's a mile long walking city. So you can go visit all the shops and the restaurants and all that. So we're super excited. We're super excited about that. And then also we are going to be presenters and hosting a panel discussion at the Flagstaff CreepyCon on October 10th. So we're really pleased that we were asked to be a part of that and to help them with that. And yeah, did I cover everything? We got a lot going on.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. So if anybody's looking for them, you need to reach out to them. They have all their information she just gave out. If not, reach out to me. I'll reach out to her.
Yeah. And our email is azghostadventures@gmail.com. I mean, everything, if you put in AZ Ghost Adventures on a search, all of our stuff should come up. But yeah, we tried to make it as easy as possible.
Oh, good.
I
Good.
can't remember anything other than that. I can't remember my passwords half the time.
Well, cool. I thank you guys for coming on the show. I really do appreciate it. You guys are great guests, and like I said, I got to have you guys back on.
Oh,
And
thank you so much.
yeah, and everyone else, tune in next Sunday. I don't know who I'm having on. I never know who I have on. You just have to tune in and find out, just like me. Yeah, you guys, thanks a lot for everyone for tuning in. I do appreciate it. You guys don't go anywhere. Hold on.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Good night, everyone.